just come a little bit.
Like that?
Yeah, closer to me.
Always want me closer.
Oi, gente! Se essa é a sua primeira vez aqui no canal, eu sou a Feneute e esse é o Feliz com a Vida. E o vídeo de hoje traz uma pessoa que eu acho muito especial. E... não.
Eu sou especial.
E no vídeo de hoje eu vou finalmente atender um pedido de vocês que vem acontecendo há muito tempo, que é trazer o meu marido para fazer um vídeo aqui comigo no canal hoje.
Oi!
Pra quem não conhece, esse é o Mark, e quando ele é só meu marido, ele é o Mark. Mas o nome dele é Mark Manson, e ele é bem conhecido aí no Brasil pelo livro A Sutil Arte de Ligar o Foda-se. Então, se você não sabia, pois é, esse foi o cara que escreveu o livro de capa laranja, que deve estar aí em todo lugar. Como esse é um vídeo que vocês me pedem há muito tempo, eu postei uma foto no meu Instagram e pedi pra vocês fazerem perguntas que vocês gostariam de ouvir a gente respondendo. E eu tive mais de 400 comentários nessa foto. Eu resolvi juntar várias perguntas e falar sobre temas que foram muito perguntados. Muitas dessas perguntas eram sobre relacionamentos e outras eram sobre a carreira, sobre os livros. Então a gente vai dividir esse vídeo em duas partes. O de hoje a gente vai falar sobre relacionamentos e aí no dia 14 de maio a gente vai postar um outro vídeo falando sobre o livro, sobre carreira e sobre o lançamento do novo livro que vai acontecer logo mais. Mas antes de mais nada, vamos responder a pergunta que as pessoas mais querem saber. Você fala português?
Eu falo português?
Yeah.
Sim, eu falo português. Eu morei lá por 2 anos.
E o que você estava fazendo no Brasil quando a gente se conheceu?
Procurando para você.
Ah. Achou?
Claro. Achei e o resto é história.
I can't. That's too cute.
Eu sou demais lindo em português.
Ele é muito fofo falando português, gente. Não dá pra levar a sério.
Ela não pode conversar comigo em português. Sempre conversamos em inglês, por isso.
Sim. Pois é, gente. Ele fala português. Embora entre nós, a gente fale quase sempre em inglês.
Sim.
Só algumas misturas bonitinhas que a gente fala meio em inglês, meio em português. Mas para o vídeo de hoje ficar mais dinâmico, a gente vai fazer em inglês e vocês vão poder acompanhar com legendas. So, first question. How did we meet?
Em uma balada.
Sim, a gente se conheceu na balada. Sabe aquele lugar que você acha que você nunca vai conhecer o seu futuro marido? Foi lá que a gente se conheceu.
Foi The Edge.
Sim.
Na 3 da manhã.
São Paulo.
São Paulo.
The funny part of how we met is that I didn't want to talk to him at first.
I got rejected. When I went into the balada, she was the first girl I saw, and I was like, damn. And so I just went straight to her and started talking to her. And she was dancing with a bunch of her friends.
It was one of those nights, you know, that you just go out with your friends and you don't want
To meet
a gringo in the first 5 minutes you in there.
She was very polite, but I could tell that she wasn't interested. Like, she didn't want to talk to me. And my rule with that when I was single was if I ever meet a girl and she doesn't want to talk to me, I tell her to have a nice night and I go talk to another girl.
Yeah, and that was actually what impressed me the most about you. Brazilian men usually are very insistent. They're like, oh no, but why? No, but come on, let's talk. And then he was so polite. Yeah, okay, have a nice night with your friends. And I was like, wow, this guy was very respectful. Like, I like that. And then 3 in the morning, I was dancing and I was happier, and then I saw him again and I thought he was so cute. Why?
What was I thinking?
Talk to him? And then we start talking, and one thing I really liked about Mark is the first question he asked me. It was, what was my favorite thing in life? And I said, traveling.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. I've been to 40 countries. Yeah.
And then we talked for 3 hours in the middle of a club. Speaking of which, another question that you guys asked a lot, it was about our life together as nomads. If you don't know, we were digital nomads for 2.5 years. And we lived together in 20 countries?
Something, 15 maybe. We went to Asia for 8 months, and then we came to the US for about 6 months, and then we went to Colombia for about 6 months.
And then we spent another 6 months in Brazil.
I was a nomad for 3 years when I met you.
So it was interesting because when I met Mark, that was the first time ever I've heard about somebody living as a nomad. So when we start talking, literally in our first date conversation, that blew my mind. And I was like, oh my God, how this guy managed to do this? What am I doing with my life? That I'm waiting an entire year to just take one vacation. It was really inspiring for me to just quit my job and give it a shot to that. What I did not expect is that 3 months into it, I would find out I actually did not like living like that. That was our first moment that we were like, okay, we need to talk.
Yeah, it's first problems.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we adjusted as the 2 years went on. I think part of the problem is when you're by yourself, it's completely different. You can just go wherever you want, when you want. So if you want to just spend 2 weeks in 5 different countries, that's fine. What I didn't realize is that when you're together, and I think what we learned very quickly is like you need to slow down. Different people adjust to different things. There were some places we would go that I would love and you didn't really like, and other places you would love and I wouldn't really like. And once you find a place that you're both happy, like it takes longer to settle and get comfortable. And so I think we learned later on to actually spend more time in each place. Like spend 3 to 6 months instead of like 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, for me, it was challenging experience. It was the most transformational thing I've ever done in my life. And I think one thing that we still managed to make it work, it's because both of us were good at respecting each other's moments and needs.
Yeah.
So in the moment I told him, this is not working for me, I'm not happy traveling all the time, he was open to stay longer, change a few routes. That was the first time we start learning how to manage conflict, because it was just the two of us and we could easily have killed each other, but we didn't. So another question, who said I love you first?
This guy.
He did. Yes. And I was not expecting
it
at
was
all.
Here in New York. I wasn't expecting either.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm crazy. What am I saying? It was true though. I mean,
we were together for like 2.5 months.
Yeah, about 2-3 months.
So I was really surprised.
I was crazy about you. It was hard because we had dated for a few months in Brazil, and then she was on vacation in the US, and then I actually flew back from Brazil
just to see me.
Just to see her. So we knew I wasn't going back to Brazil and that this was going to be the last time I was going to see her for probably at least 3 or 4 months, maybe ever. Our first couple days here were just amazing, and I was
walking around Times Square. which is a place that we never go.
Which is, it was strange because it was late at night and there was something strangely romantic about it, which sounds crazy now because there's so many tourists, but like it was in the middle of winter, so it was cold, it was kind of empty, and yeah, we were just like
so in love.
I was crazy about her, and I'm like, I might never see her again, so fuck it.
I love you. Yeah. And I was like, what? Yeah. And I felt the same, but in my head it was just that thing that you never say to a guy you're probably never gonna see again. I was just like, oh, I love you too. Oh, that was so cute. Another thing that people ask me a lot, because we did a long distance relationship for 6 months.
6 months.
And people asked me, so how did you do it? Do you have any tips? For me, what it was the most important, it was that we had a plan.
Yeah.
A mistake that a lot of people make when they start doing a long distance relationship, it's not thinking about we're doing this for what?
Yeah.
Until when? And when you don't have a plan, it's really hard to manage because then people have different expectations.
We both had experience and kind of knew what we needed. Yeah, we just agreed very early on that there needs to be a finish line. There needs to be like an end date.
It wasn't like a crazy love story that is just like, oh my God, let's quit my job and travel. No, it was a very well planned and organized.
That passion was there.
Yes, obviously.
But you need more than that.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that end date, that goal that you're both like aiming towards, it gets frustrating. As time goes on, there feels like there's no purpose to that frustration. And then that's when people just kind of, things fall apart.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about me and your least favorite thing?
My favorite thing is how easily you have fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fun to be around you.
Eu sou muito empolgada.
You get crazy sometimes, and it's a lot of fun. Least favorite thing is, you know this, you leave stuff everywhere. And like the most random, inappropriate places, and it drives me fucking crazy.
Gente, se vocês ainda não assistiram, eu contei isso nos 50 fatos sobre mim. Eu perco as coisas. Eu coloco as coisas em lugares onde elas não deveriam estar, e aí eu perco, e aí eu fico, cadê meu celular? Oh, meu Deus! E aí ele fica pé da vida.
Every day. Every day.
Por isso que eu tento ser tão organizada. Tô tentando. My favorite thing about him is the honesty. I've never met in my life somebody that it was so brutally honest. When you have that, there is a trust that I've never felt that before. Sometimes it hurts. But it's good.
But it's worth it.
It is. And my least favorite, ele é muito teimoso. When he thinks he's right about something, oh my God. And I'm like, no, that is not right. And he's like, yes, it is. It just drives me crazy. But you know what is the worst of this? He's usually right.
Of course.
But sometimes he's not. And then it's when I'm like, you are not right now. So what is the biggest challenge of having a partner from a different culture?
It's still the language issue. It's funny because, we've been together for 7 years. Your English is fully fluent now. I speak a lot of Portuguese, but it's still amazing how many simple misunderstandings we had. We had one yesterday. And then there's just cultural things. Like one thing that we had very early on in our relationship was the word vanity. Like the word vanity in Portuguese, vaidade, it's pretty normal. It's like just a normal adjective for somebody. In English, it's extremely offensive. The only way you discover that
it's when you say it
is by offending the other person.
Yeah.
And so there is still today, there's just all these little cultural and linguistic differences that like we still stumble through.
And I think it's very important to be open and knowing that you actually don't necessarily mean what you say, because a lot of people that follow me have like a significant other from a different country, and that's a question that constantly pops up. And then I feel like my biggest tip for you guys, it's always have a neutral approach to it. Don't take it personal. Don't think it's offensive. Just ask. Simply ask, is that what you meant?
Yeah, a lot of patience.
Yes. A lot of patience. What is the best and the worst thing of being married to an American and to a Brazilian?
Well, the best thing about being married to a Brazilian is easy. You guys know how to party. Americans are bad at having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're terrible at having fun, and Brazilians are like the best in the world at having fun. So barbecues, parties, beach, like always the best with Brazilians. The worst thing about being married to a Brazilian, and this isn't you, because you're not like this at all, but it's like, it's the jeitinho. I can't stand it. I know you're the same, it's why we're married, but like I have zero tolerance and zero patience for it. I understand why people do it, but
It's true. And it's not something I've changed because I moved to the US. I was
You were never
always like that.
Yeah.
I always hated. For me, one thing I really admire about the American culture, and then being married to an American ended up bringing that to you, is that Americans really believe you can do anything. Nothing is impossible if you work hard. My least favorite thing about American culture is that Americans can be very cold sometimes.
Yeah.
You are not as much as other people, but Americans have a problem expressing emotions. It's hard for them. I felt like I had to take that extra mile to like make you open up and talk more about your feelings. So that can be very challenging.
Yeah.
But we can manage.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw me a few times saying that we rarely fight. So that's something people always ask me, why we don't fight.
I think it's two things. One is respect. Even when we disagree, even when you do something that really pisses me off, there's like a certain line in my head that I won't cross. And I think it's understanding that there's a difference between your actions and you as a person or your character. And so there might be things that you say or do that I can't stand or that I disagree with very strongly, but there's a certain judgment that I won't pass to you. Like, you are always who you are, and I respect that and I love that.
I think another important thing here, it's understanding what does it mean not fighting? Absolutely, the respect is a big part of it. We don't yell at each other. We don't call each other names. We don't slam doors or do like those things that are really aggressive, even though you're not being physically aggressive towards each other. But we do disagree. Like you said, we do argue sometimes about things, but we do that in a very respectful way. It's never a fight. And we also are very good at solving conflicts when they happen.
Don't hold grudges.
Yes, and then after a while we'll be like,
oh,
remember that day you did that? We never do that.
Yeah,
when something happens, we resolve that
When it's over, it's over. I mean, one thing I try to do, and I think you do it too, is that whenever I get so angry or upset about something that I feel myself like approaching that point of like slamming a door or like saying something I'll regret, I just leave. Like, I just leave, I go outside, I go for a walk, and I tell you, I'm like, I can't do this right now. Like, calm down, come back.
And it's usually very sweet.
It's like, all right, I was an asshole.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry. So that's why we never fight.
Well, I'll say this too, I think one thing we're both good at is admitting we're wrong.
Yes. There's no interest in proving that I'm right.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, we understand the situation and then we just talk about it without finding like who's guilt about it.
And I think it's important to also find, like, neither person is all right or all wrong. You can come back and be like, look, I still think this, but I was wrong when I said that.
How did we manage to have such similar values coming from completely different backgrounds and cultures? Só para vocês terem uma ideia, eu, sou brasileira, quem me acompanha aqui sabe que eu cresci numa família bem simples, sem muito dinheiro. E o Mark, ele teve uma infância completamente diferente da minha. Ele é um menino americano, privilegiado, a família sempre teve dinheiro. E até por isso não seria muito surpreendente que a gente tivesse valores muito diferentes.
I never felt very American, I guess. Since I was a kid, there were a lot of things about my own culture that I didn't like very much. And it's one reason why I wanted to travel so much. American culture is so driven around work and status and money and just buying things, and that never made sense to me. And so I was always looking for something a little bit deeper, a little more philosophical. Yeah, and the other thing about, coming back to like Americans being cold, like, I grew up in a family that never showed their emotions. For me, I spent a lot of time learning how to be emotional. And so the first time I went to Latin America, I loved it because Latino cultures are so emotional. It just felt so refreshing and so liberating to be around Colombians and Argentinos and Brasileros and just have this like constant emotion going on.
And in my family was to the other part of the spectrum of being emotional. Everybody just like are very loud and everything turns into a fight. And I never liked that. And so having this more cold approach, calm. I feel like we both were looking for a more balanced.
Yeah, and we met in the middle.
Yes, and I think now, since we've been together, we both created very good and strong values, and that's why I think we have a very healthy relationship. How we spend all day, every day together without killing each other. That's a good one.
It's a good one. I think we're both very independent.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, so we both enjoy being by ourselves, and then we both...
And doing things
by ourselves.
By ourselves.
Like, if you want to spend all day on your computer working on something, I don't feel threatened or insecure, like, oh, she doesn't want to be with me. Like, we both enjoy having our space. Even though we're both at home all day, every day together, most of our time here, we're doing things by ourselves.
Yeah, in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, that I think it's important is we're best friends.
Yeah.
We enjoy being with each other. So even when we were basically forced to be in the same space all the time, we managed to like kind of have fun with it. We're very good at looking at the positive things instead of what it's annoying, because the positive, it's always more.
Yeah, and you just learn boundaries too. Like, you learned years ago that I have a very weird thing about my stuff. Like, if it's my stuff and you touch it or you move it, like, I freak out. We just discovered a boundary that we had about how to respect each other's space, how to respect each other's things, how to respect each other's time.
Yeah, it's really important to communicate. And I think another thing is that we never tried to change each other. Don't try to change the other person to please something that it's important to you, because people are different, people have different needs, and that just creates problems, fights, and you were never going to change the other person. So it's just a stress that you could avoid just respecting who they are. And at the end of the day, what it makes a successful relationship, it's when you learn how to like the things you don't like.
Or be okay with them. Yeah, if I tried to change you every time you left something,
we'll be killing each other.
We would fight.
That's why
every single day. Instead, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Sure, knife is next to the bathtub. Okay, whatever. Like,
what is a tip that you will give to the couples and people who are seeking a long-lasting, healthy relationship?
The thing that I always talk about, and these are the things we've talked about, but respect, trust, because without trust, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And then I think friendship too. This is something that a lot of old people told us at our wedding. You need to be best friends, because when you spend your life together, there's gonna be weeks, months, years where things aren't going so well. If you're not like best friends, like if you don't really, really like spending time together, you're not gonna make it through those periods.
Like the butterflies, they go away.
It goes away. Yeah.
And so I see a lot of people like, oh, but there's no more passion. It's just like, I've learned to fall in love with different things.
There are things that are better than passion. I think that's what you learn, is that it's passion and romance it's fun, but it's not the most important thing.
No. And I think one thing it's really important that I would love to tell you guys, Brazilian culture is a culture that lacks trust on any level.
Every level.
A lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, are you jealous because now you have fans? And then you go to like book signings and there is always women like flirting with you. And then I'm really not jealous because I don't even think about it. And even when I'm with you and I see women flirting, or I don't feel threatened, because I'm like, he's not gonna do anything. He respects me and I trust that so much. And I feel like building trust It's one of the most important things. And trust comes from values. People don't understand what strong values are. A lot of people justify that with like, oh, but you know, it's an instinct of the human being to just like other people, or it's a choice you make, and that choice, it's completely attached to what is the most important values to you. And without trust, I feel like it's really hard to keep a healthy relationship in the long term.
Impossible, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ai, gente, foi legal, eu gostei muito. Foi engraçado ter você aqui comigo. E eu espero que vocês tenham gostado, que a gente tenha conseguido não só contar a nossa história, que era uma coisa que muitos de vocês tinham curiosidade, mas também dar alguns conselhos e que vocês consigam aproveitar algumas dessas dicas para fazer o seu relacionamento também ser mais saudável. Se vocês gostaram ou ficaram com alguma outra dúvida, deixem aqui nos comentários. E como sempre, se você ainda não se inscreveu no canal, aproveita para fazer isso agora. Assim a gente se vê nos próximos vídeos.
Tchau!